Start our lecture today, and as we are discussing this one, we are discussing object-oriented programming, introduction to object-oriented programming, class and objects we are discussing, right? So in our previous lecture, we discussed how to develop a dog class. For instance, what is a class? A class is a new data type, new type. What is a class? A class is a type. Okay, once we define a class, then that means once we define a type, new type, we will be able to create instances of that type, as many instances we need. Okay, but that we will be creating not real, sometimes not real object, but objects. So for instance, in our last lecture, we created a dog class, right? So a dog, as usually when you imagine a dog or we see a dog, what do we think? That a dog may have a name and it has usually 4 legs, okay, and it has age and is trained or not, okay, and color and weight and a dog. These are the variables or attributes of a dog, right? There may have other attributes, many more attributes, but let us start with these attributes. Okay, and dog can do some action or some activities. One of the activities is can move. A dog can move, or a dog can make sound, can run. Okay, there are maybe other activities. Okay, can respond to us, can help us, can give us enjoyment. So these are the actions, right? An action is implemented by a method, and these are the variables or attributes are implemented through some variables. Okay, so what happens when we create a dog class? Then that means we have created a type. So then we will be able to use that type to create some instances of that type. For instance, like when we have an integer type, built-in type, we can create instances of type. For instance, x1 will be an integer type variable, and it will take on a memory, a place on memory, right? And then we can assign value to x, and then this true statement can be written as something like one word, int x1 equal to 20. This single statement is equivalent to this. You know this, right? Okay. And when we have integer type variable, which is easy for us to print or use those variables. We know this, right? But when we have a new type, an object or class type, okay, in order to create an instance of that type, we need something different. Like for instance, dog. I want to make my new object name, instance name as d1, dog d1 equal to new dog. Okay, new is an operator over here. In most languages, object-oriented programming language is used a new instance, and dog is here is dog. This is a method. This is a constructor. Today we will learn about constructor. Okay, and then this is a syntax. By using this syntax, we can create as many objects as we need. But only one thing we need to: we cannot have same name or more than one time. Object name more than one time. For already have instance or an of dog. By the way, whenever we have a variable of primitive data type, then we say whenever we have an instance of a primitive data type, for instance integer, we call this instance variable. Okay, whenever we have an instance of a class type, then we call this instance an object. An object is the foundation or pillar. Objects are the pillars of object-oriented programming language. So here, so I can create D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 as many objects we need. Okay. So at this point, for instance, whatever we have, for instance, I have this class, I have this print operation. If I want to print X, primitive data type, I can do this way. It's very simple. But if I want to print, for instance, D1, an object D1, then if I type in D1, then it will not come with something that is easy to understand. So let us see. I'm giving an so that I want to see output only up to this. So run my program. So I just give a boundary so that I will see my output up to this. Okay, up to this. I will see my output up to this. So my D1 is coming as dog at the rate something like this. Okay, this is a memory address location of a memory. So similarly, if I want to display D2, D3, D4, D5, let us do quickly this D2, D3, D4, D5. So here will be my D2, here my D3, D4, and D5. I run this program. Then I will be able to see other locations. For instance, you see that D1 is located on this memory location, D2 is located on this memory location, and D3 is located on this memory location, and is located on this location, D5 is located on this location. So each of the instances takes different locations, right? Okay, we do not need to find out where this location is on our computer. We do not need to break our computer. Okay, do not try to that we have this memory location. Okay, for instance, like we are taking oxygen and releasing hydrogen, carbon dioxide, right, in our breath, but we don't need to know actually how to see how oxygen or carbon dioxide look like. Just we believe that is fine. Okay, so but we can do that. Okay, now we see that it's not easy to display an object like we display a normal data type. But if we want to do that, we need to do something else. Okay, for instance, okay, one more thing, that we have our dog class at the end, but that is outside of our main class. We have in this it is written in on template. So you have a main class. It contains my main method, and you see that if I click over here, it will show somewhere. You see that it is selected this one, line 42, end of my main class. So my dog class should be outside of my main class. Okay, you can put it above. You can put it of your main class or below of this main class. Must be outside of main class. You see that when I select this line number 22, it will show me its pair on line 3. Dog class started here and dog class ends here. Two classes will be separate. You can put this into different files or in one file is fine. Okay, but okay, whatever we got some memory location. But if I want to see actual real output, I will show you. I will show you. Okay. If we want to do, if we want to display this in some meaningful D1, D2, D3 meaningful way, then we need to do something else. For instance, what is that? We need to understand that first. But let me review something else. Whenever I typed in D1 dot, it's not showing me in Replit. Okay, I want to copy the entire program in Eclipse so that it is easy for me to explain. Okay, dog main. Okay, in Eclipse there is something different. You can have only one public class, and the class and the file name must be uh, is saved on this name dog main.java. Okay, and let me copy some code because it's not showing. So my dog class is there over here. This is my dog class. Okay, I'm copying my code from Eclipse to from Replit to Eclipse. Okay, and this is my main, and within main I need this. So far I have gone this in my main. So if I run my, it will give me this output. Okay, but I want, what do you want to do? Think that about here. What is showing that here in it is showing class package dot java dot dog. That means dog class dog. This is instance of dog class. Is on this memory location, and it is defined. It is an instance of dog class. Dog class is defined within class package. This is class package. This package name and define over here. Okay, so people who are taking C# and C++, I will go through this soon, okay? But let's understand from here. So what we want to do, we want to get meaningful output. But in order to understand that, let me review something. Whenever I typed in D1, and then when I type dot D1, then you see thing and a window popped up here. So it says a fluid dog. Attention from the back, people who are taking computer, please, and give attention. So let us understand what does this mean. It means this is an arrow. It means age is a variable or a field that is type fluid and that is defined in dog class. Okay, and color is a variable that and that is defined in dog class. Strain is a variable and that type is boolean and that is defined in dog class. So up to this, and can move is a method. How do I know that this is a method? It has a parenthesis. Okay, and that return type is void and it is defined in dog class. So let us think that, but some other things that you see that equal, get class, hash code, these are the methods defined in object class. Object class is a built-in class that is built-in in compiler, and that is our a top level class. So object-oriented programming, we can inherit properties. We can reuse properties from parent class. The concept of object-oriented programming language develop or design programs like real life fashion. In real life, if my parents have some, I should inherit those, right? And enjoy those properties, right? And have those properties. Programming, we will be able to do that or inherit. Later, we will learn that. Okay. One thing I know that there is a is called toString. This one's toString method. toString. See this one method. Let us understand that the toString method returns a string representation of the object. In general, the toString method returns a string that textually represents the object. Let us try to understand this. Okay, so in order to find our output in meaningful way, we need to redefine that string method. Where we will redefine that? In my dog class, within my class. Okay, within my dog. So how do redefine that code? That string to string method, it varies, the implementation varies language to language. Java, we started with @ keyword and then override, who is in uppercase, VERRID. Then public string to string. Okay, so let us get copy whatever we one dot to string method. To copy those stuff. So to it returns a string type. You see that when I move over here, to string method, it returns a string value. Okay, the string class represent string. That means we need a return. What my return statement is, maybe return return. So what I want to return or display? I want to display name and the number of leg X. Okay, let me. So I will display like this. Okay, give attention over here. So return, just I copied over here and I need to reshape name plus leg count, number of legs, plus I'm giving some extra space, plus is plus space. Okay, for now let us keep this until this. Simple. I can use chaining later. So what I'm replying over here, in my toString method, I am returning name and then after some space and then number of legs and age. Now just I did this. The toString method needs to be override or rewrite, but we need to call this toString method. So now if I run this same program, if I run previously when I ran it, I got this output. Now look at, if I run this program, I will get different output. Okay, I'm getting some different output, right? D1, okay, D1 equal to null, so that name equal to null, leg count equal to 0, age equal to 0. But these are showing that I have not assigned any value for this D1 yet. Okay, now object I have not assigned any name yet. Okay, so in our last lecture we assigned some values for D1 object, for instance, like this. Okay, these values. So let us copy these values and let us put over here. For instance, D1 dot name. The name of my D1 object is Lacy, and number of legs 4, and then age 3.5. Okay, and then now if I run this, then you see that I got for my D1 object, I got name and leg count and age, right? So the function of toString method. So the toString method I just redefine or override toString method, but I do not need to call this method explicitly. What is the benefit of toString method? It will give me a meaningful output of object. I do not need to call toString method, but it will be internally called, and it will be giving me a meaningful output of my object. You will understand what is the T2 method? Without the toString method, we saw that we would give a different result. We would get only, again, let me do it. If I do not have this toString method, okay, if I do not have this toString method, then what output I will get from here? I will get some memory address. That's it. I will get some memory address for this one. I will see that the D1 is located on this memory, but what are the data value for D1? I will not get it. In order to get that data value, actual value, I need to override this toString method, but I do not need to call this toString method explicitly. Okay, but if I have this toString method, then I will get my output in meaningful way. Okay, but for D2 and D3 still showing null value because I have not assigned any value for D2, D3 and 5 variables here. Okay. And similarly, if I can call this method, call this for D2, can move and D2 dot can make sound. Then it will show the output of this method. Okay, then this is my output. My dog can move. Okay, that for now, similarly, I can assign values for other objects. For instance, if I want to assign value for my D2 object, for instance, my D2 object has, who gave 2 last week? Last volunteer? Dog 2. You had dog 1. Who had dog 1, dog 2? Remember? Okay, let us give assign a different name. For instance, Tom. Okay, and leg count is 4 and age is maybe 2.5 years, and his train maybe false, and color is maybe white, and weight maybe 145 pounds, very large. Okay, and then if I run this, and okay, sorry, I need to assign D2, all of the D2, and D2, 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 and D2, and D2. So now if I print D2, let us print D1 and D2 only, then I will get output for D2. For my D2 object, you see my D2 is name Tom, his number of legs 4 and is 2.5. I am, since in my two string method I did not use other fields, like for instance strain, color and weight, so this is why those are not shown in my output. I can add those here, right? So far this is the foundation. Anybody has any question? Okay, if you understand, like for the next 20 minutes, give attention, next 20 minutes I have lecture time, then you will understand 1/4 of object oriented programming concept foundation. Okay, give attention please. That we started from over here, we will start from here. Okay, now let us do okay, so this program almost will be same in C sharp and in Python, and C is something different. Okay, in Python, okay, in C++, this is the end of this class. This is the end of dot class. Okay, this class will be ended with a semicolon in C++. Okay, in C++, we have to write like this way. You have to end with a semicolon. Okay, and you have to change this. Okay, like system.out.println with cout. Okay. Any question? We are taking Java. Okay, let us do that. How can we convert this program in C sharp? Okay, so this is code like in Java. Dot example. Let me make a new plate. I want to make it in C sharp, right? C sharp. What is name? I already login. Okay. I want to rename this one. Or default name. I want to change this name. Why cannot I give new name? I don't know. But me share it here and then. What is the last one? So it shows a different version on my uh, anyone knows how to create a new replit over here? It's not showing me. Selected language C sharp. Name. I will convert it into C sharp and I will post on replit. But let us go through. You see my screen? Hang on. Responding. I'm sorry. You can see my screen. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, so sorry for the interruption. Okay, so far, so okay, so we created a class, and we can create. We know how to create a class or new data type, and we can create instance of data type or a class. Okay, so now what is the difference between a normal data type or a built-in data type and a class? You understand? So a normal data type contains only one kind of value. Okay, for instance, if I have my x1 is an integer type variable, it can contain only integer type value. Okay, but if I have my d1 is a dog type, then a complex data type. You understand? We can hold multiple values in dog. Okay, so these, how can we store these values? Okay, by using dot operator. This is one way. There is another way. Like for instance, using construct. Okay. So how to define constructor? Okay, so you see that we are calling constructor over here, using constructor over here, doc constructor. How do I say this is actually this is a method? Okay, so we say actually if that we do not explicitly assign any constructor, okay, then we use a default constructor. But how do we define a constructor? How do we define a constructor? We will write public public, and then a constructor has same name exactly of its class. This when a method has exactly same name of its class, and then that is called a constructor. Okay, so my dog method is exactly same name of my dog class. So this is the method. Instead of calling it as a function, it has a special name that is called a constructor. So let us give some output. So dog constructor one. So when we create object of a class, the constructor is invoked or called automatically. Like toString method, we do not need to call this constructor. Okay, so then for instance, we define this dog constructor. Okay, now if we run this same program, you will see that this line will be printed. This will be printed multiple times. So let us run this program. Okay, so it says dog constructor called. It is coming from here. As many times as we create an instance of this class, this will be output. We do not like the toString method. We do not need to call the constructor explicitly. A constructor is called implicitly when an object is created by this line. For instance, here, whenever we are calling this constructor explicitly. Okay, but next time we will see how to use this constructor to assign values for our object. Do you have 2 minutes? Do you have 1 more 2 minutes? Give me 2 more minutes. That last 2 minutes we will discuss. Let us see our slides. Whatever so far we have gone through how to create a class. Okay, a class contains two things: variables and methods. In order to access those methods, when a class has a method, that method is called. When a class has a function, that function is called a method. Okay, in normal language say function, but in object perspective we will say method. Okay, so this is the dog class, for instance, we created, and in C++ format there is some different semicolon. I will convert my C++ and sharp. Okay, I can get it in my replit. How do we, and why do we create a class? A class, we create a class as a compound data type. And once we create data type, we can create instances. And one thing that I mentioned, we will create virtual instance, not real instance. Okay, for instance, in our program, we created dog D1, D2, D3, D4, but those are real, not real dog, imaginary dog, virtual. And an object, what is an object? An object in real life is an entity, real world. In object-oriented programming concept, we will tell an instance of a class is an object. Instance is a class of an object. So object and classes are founding or foundational block, one of the foundations of object programming language. So far whatever we discussed, stay with here, and in our next lecture we will go through, especially we will see how to improve our class and how can I, my computer does not, why cannot I, yeah, it should show me, it should show me an output, yeah, that skin.
Right clicking on it.
Give me a second, please.
Question is
Give
this,
me 1 second. Give me 1 second, please. It is not responding, you see.